If you step outside into London today and take a long, deep breath, it's unlikely that your lungs will feel refreshed. We have a serious air pollution problem. Just 5 days into 2017, we breached our annual limit for nitrogen oxide. Sadiq Khan has issued an air quality plan and pledged to double funding to tackle our filthy air. But these government plans won't allow our air pollution levels to fall into legal limits until 2020. And we can't really wait 3 years for these plans to come into fruition, especially when air pollution has such a negative impact on our health. So today I'm going to find out what we as individuals can do to prevent our exposure to air pollution. My first visit of the day is to go and see a professor at King's College London to find out what exactly has caused this air pollution problem. Can you tell me a little bit about the air pollution crisis that's currently happening in London?
Well, air pollution has evolved a great deal since the smogs we used to get in the 1950s, and rather than space heating, coal and wood in homes and power stations, it's now vehicles which are really causing the problem in our city. This is principally these days because of the popularity of diesel vehicles, passenger diesel vehicles, which account for 50% of our fleet now.
So how bad is it actually, the air pollution crisis?
We made very large gains in the 80s and 90s with catalytic converters, and then things kind of stalled. And as diesel became more popular, and crucially as the technology that was supposed to clean up diesel vehicles failed in cities like London, then it has become a big problem that should by now have been solved.
One way in which individuals can lower their exposure to air pollution is to take a step back from the roads and walk on the side of the pavement furthest away from the street. There are also things you can do to lower your exposure if you have to take a bus. Either sit on the opposite side of the bus to the driver, or if you're on a double-decker, sit upstairs. Changing your exercise routine so that you run first thing in the morning, you'll hopefully miss the increase in air pollution that occurs once London hits rush hour. So what can we do aside from these little tips and tricks? Is there a way to know when and where pollution levels are highest in the city? And the answer is yes. There are a number of apps that can help us monitor pollution levels, helping to further reduce our exposure. King's College has their own app called City Air. And on this app you can see a map that shows you where pollution levels are highest in the city. You can also plan a route between 2 different places, and it gives you the highest pollution route and the lowest pollution route. So this can help you reduce your exposure further. So I'm going to head to the streets of UCL to see if people know about the pollution crisis and if they know how to reduce their exposure.
I've got to be honest, I'm quite lazy. Unless I actually feel the differences, generally I don't.
When there was the air pollution warning a couple of weeks ago, I took the bus instead of walking or commuting.
I think I've become more mindful of times when you're maybe more likely to take in air pollution. So maybe when you are, like I say, waiting for a bus, or if you notice the air quality, if it's just a bit harder to breathe, maybe just being a little bit more aware of that, but at the same time I don't actively change anything.
I'm actually not aware of any apps that monitor air pollution in London.
I wasn't aware there's any apps.
I can certainly see myself using it when it comes to deciding whether to exercise outside or inside.
Yeah, probably. If I could find a good route to uni that didn't have a lot of air pollution, that would be good.
I think for me, sometimes ignorance is bliss, sometimes, and maybe that's quite a naive way to think with air pollution in London, but I kind of want to go about my day-to-day life without being too preoccupied by all this hidden dangers, but as I say, maybe it's because I don't know enough about it.
From talking to the public, it seems that people are aware of the London air pollution crisis, but they're not taking steps to reduce their exposure, possibly because they don't quite realise the implications it has for their health. So for my last appointment of the day, I'm going to go and talk to a GP to find out what the health consequences really are.
So if we're talking about healthy people, air pollution can make you feel a bit sick, it can make you have a tight chest, it can trigger allergy symptoms, and that's on a short-term basis. And then obviously there are some more consequences which we kind of know a bit about in terms of long-term damage, structural damage to other organs, which lead to problems with heart. And that can lead to dying earlier, basically. So premature death is something that we do see as a result of air pollution.
Is there anything you think that we can do to lower our exposure to air pollution?
Not very much on an individual basis. Obviously there are things that everyone should do to try and help the environment, but that's only going to be a small amount of change, and doing things to try and minimise your contact with air pollution is also going to be very difficult. If you have to go out to work, you have to go out. But I think the problems are on a bigger scale. The problems are government, councils, cities making changes to make the air quality better, which will then in turn make individuals healthier and less subjected to air pollution.
Today I've discovered just how great a problem London's air pollution is, especially in terms of our health. However, there are ways in which you can protect yourselves, such as using apps or modifying the ways in which we travel around London. Hopefully, in the future, our government will do more to clean our air. However, for now, it is our responsibility to reduce our exposure and protect our health.